What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video here on B-Mills Wrestling. In today's video, I'm going to be reading your guys' WWE Hot Takes. I usually do WWE Hot Takes once a week, so the way I do this is I post on my TikTok account for you guys to comment your WWE Hot Takes, and then I put them on the video and analyze them, tell you if I agree with them or disagree with them. So if you guys want to go check out my TikTok, I'm going to link that in the description if you guys want to be a part of the next WWE Hot Takes video. Before we get into the video, if you guys are not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any new videos. And don't forget to leave a like down below. Alright guys, let's get into the video. The first hot take that we have on here says Ron Killings takes out CM Punk, setting up Ron versus Cena at Night of Champions. I could 1000% actually see this happening just because I don't know if CM Punk is going to actually work this Saudi show. Obviously, he's famously known for not going to Saudi Arabia and not working the Saudi shows because he doesn't agree with what goes on there in Saudi Arabia. He doesn't like the deal that WWE has with them. We saw last year him get written off TV a little before they went to Saudi Arabia, then he would come back a little bit after. I was thinking that they actually might do the same thing this year unless CM Punk has changed his views, changed his ways, and is going back on his word, and he actually will work the Saudi show. I feel like this is definitely a possibility just because, obviously, Ron Killings made his shocking return at Money in the Bank. He took out John Cena, costed Cena the match, so I would assume there's unfinished business there and that we would get a part 2 to Ron Killings versus John Cena, except this time it's not the goofy R-Truth that you knew was going to get squashed. Instead, we actually get a serious version of R-Truth, which is Ron Killings, and then we get an absolute long match between R-Truth and John Cena, or Ron Killings, I should say, where Ron Killings actually looks like he potentially could be the one to take the title off of Cena. I could absolutely see this. The only thing is, if this were to happen, if Ron Killings were to take out CM Punk, that pretty much makes him a heel. So if they did Killings versus Cena at Night of Champs, it's a heel versus a heel kind of scenario, which I wouldn't mind at all. But WWE tends to not do things like that, so I'm not too sure if that is going to happen. It will be interesting to see if CM Punk actually does work the Saudi show, or if this does happen and R-Truth replaces CM Punk and takes on John Cena. The next hot take that we have on here says Drew McIntyre should be winning titles. Dude, I absolutely agree with you. I really wanted Drew McIntyre to actually be the one to dethrone Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight Championship. I thought that was the perfect opportunity, the best case scenario. But obviously, right now, Drew McIntyre, he's dealing with an injury. I believe it's a concussion. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he hurt his head on a table spot with Damian Priest back at Backlash. So hoping that he gets better soon. I do really want to see Drew McIntyre in this world title picture because he's done everything to earn it. He's been in the best storylines of the year. That storyline with CM Punk alone should have put him in the main event scene, world title scene. But they just haven't done it. They stuck him in a storyline with Damian Priest going into WrestleMania. Don't get me wrong, the match was good. He made the most out of nothing. I really didn't care for that storyline. Drew McIntyre made me care a little bit about that storyline. I just want to see him feud with the top guys like John Cena. I hope we get that at some point because that is a dream feud of mine, especially with the work that Drew's put in to become this level of a heel that he is. I would absolutely love to see that. Just some other guys like taking the title off of Jey Uso I thought would have been really good. Obviously, that's not the case scenario. Gunther is the new world champion. So now I really don't see Drew McIntyre winning another world title for a long time. Because right now, obviously, it looks like Seth's probably going to be the next world champion after Gunther. Could be LA Knight or Sami Zayn. But either way, Seth's going to cash in. And it's just going to be a long time before we see Drew get back into the title picture, which sucks. But I do hope that he gets better soon. The next one we have on here isn't really a hot take. It's just more of an opinion. And it says, been having fun with it, to be honest. And that obviously has to do with the current product of WWE. And I agree. I think that it's been getting a little better. I think it got a little bit stale going up to WrestleMania. The build for some of the feuds weren't as good. And then after WrestleMania, going into Backlash, I felt like, it was a little rushed because of, how it was only 2 weeks after WrestleMania. But I feel like I was a fan of Money in the Bank. I know a lot of people did not like Money in the Bank. I thought it was a solid PLE. I thought the right winners won. I think Seth should have won. I thought he was the only one that made sense. I know a lot of people thought LA Knight should have won. I thought Naomi was the perfect choice for Money in the Bank. Yes, I would have liked Stephanie Vaquer or Roxanne Perez, sorry. But I thought she was the right choice. She was the correct choice. Becky Lynch taking the title from Lyra, I thought that was the right choice as well. I actually thought they were going to do that at Backlash. So that makes sense to me, especially with setting up the Bayley return. And then the R-Truth return at Money in the Bank was awesome as well. And now with what they're doing with him, like this split personality type with R-Truth and Ron Killings. So I've really liked what they've been doing since Money in the Bank. And now we're obviously getting John Cena versus CM Punk at Night of Champions, which is unbelievable. Obviously, we just had Gunther win the world title on Jey Uso, which was one of the most unexpected wins that I've ever seen. And like kind of like Io Sky when she won the world title a little before WrestleMania, that was so unexpected. Same thing here, and I love unexpected things to happen in WWE. That is one of my favorite parts about the product. So yeah, I do agree. I think the product has been really fun. I'm really excited for the King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. I think they're pretty unpredictable. Like for the women, I could see Roxanne, Jade, Stephanie Vaquer. For the men's, I could see Cody Rhodes, even though he doesn't need it. I could see Sami Zayn, maybe a Randy Orton, who knows. I think they're both unpredictable. I'm super excited for those. So yeah, I have definitely been having fun with the current product right now. I know a lot of people will disagree with that because of the TKO stuff. And yeah, I'm not a fan of putting Slim Jims on table and just advertising a bunch of bullcrap. But like as far as like the storylines go and you know what we've been getting in the ring, I thought it's been really good lately. So I do agree with you. The next one we have on here says fans are overly critical and are actually destroying the product. To a point, I do agree with you. I think the IWC at times can be really annoying, just with straight hatred for guys like Jey Uso and stuff like that. I think it does get really annoying. I don't think that, you know, you're not allowed to be critical of the product, because I am critical of the product. Like, I do make videos talking about how I think something should be better, but overall, I still enjoy the show. I watch the show every week. Obviously, you know, you're not going to like certain things that WWE does, but you're also going to like a lot of things that WWE does, and that's exactly how I am. But I don't go ranting on Twitter like these IWC guys saying, oh, how much they hate Jey Uso and they hate Triple H's booking. I think that's just ridiculous at times. It's okay to be critical, but when you are over the top critical, it can be too much. So I do agree with you in a sense. Next one we have on here says, LA Knight will beat Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. I kind of agree with you. I just made a video about who I think will dethrone every current champion in WWE, and I said LA Knight's going to be the one to win that world title because I think fans were obviously heated about LA Knight not winning the Money in the Bank. They thought he should have won it this year, last year, the year before that. He's 0-3 in Money in the Bank ladder matches now. Obviously, he's still super over. He has stayed super over with the crowd. He hasn't gone stale. You know, the crowd hasn't turned on him, so he's done a really good job with that. So I think it is time to probably put him in the world title picture. I'm not the hugest LA Knight fan. I like LA Knight, but I'm not like, oh, I need him to win a world title. But I definitely think it could happen because, you know, his time in the mid-card, in my opinion, it has to be over. Things were getting too stale with the U.S. title scene. He was just in it for so long. He was in the Bloodline vortex for way too long. I love that we're getting a Seth Rollins and LA Knight feud going into Night of Champions, or that is rumored. Obviously, he just took out Braun Breaker in an episode of Raw in the qualifying match, so it does seem like they are going down that route. I am super excited for that because he needed something different. He needed a shakeup. He needs to go to Monday Night Raw. I'm done with him on SmackDown. He needs fresh storylines on Raw like Seth Rollins and this new faction. I think that's huge for him. I could see him winning the King of the Ring. I didn't say that a few minutes ago when I was talking about the King of the Ring contestants, but I could see him winning that as well to set up LA Knight versus Gunther at SummerSlam, which is actually my prediction. I think it's going to be either Sami Zayn or LA Knight taking on Gunther at SummerSlam, probably by winning this King of the Ring tournament or whatever, however they get this match. And then I think one of them, either Sami or LA Knight, will beat Gunther until they get cashed in on by Seth Rollins. I'm not going to get into all that right now, but I do think LA Knight should be the one to dethrone Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. The next one that we have on here says, Gunther is overrated. He can barely move in the ring. Jey needed to hold the title and lose it to Cody at SummerSlam, then Cena versus Cody for a title versus title match. This hot take is all over the place. There's a lot to break down in this hot take, but I will say this, I do not agree with a single thing that was said in this hot take. Gunther is overrated because he can barely move in the ring. Are we serious? Gunther is literally one of the best in-ring performers that WWE literally has. Okay, if you're just watching Gunther versus Jey Uso matches, then you might think he's not because they have the worst chemistry with each other. Not a single one of their matches work good. And, you know, if you go and watch Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre, Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov, literally you will see that Gunther is a phenomenal wrestler. Literally the best, maybe the best wrestler that WWE has from an in-ring standpoint. So that is a ludicrous take. And then we go to Jey needed to hold the title a little longer. Okay, I agree. I think Jey holding the title a little longer wouldn't have hurt. I think he probably should have had a little longer than 51 days, so you get a bit of a pass there. But then to say that he should have lost the title to Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. Why would they do that? It's going to be Cody versus Cena, first of all. Why would they do Jay versus Cody? They're literally friends. Who do you think they're turning heel in that scenario? I don't understand why you think that they would do that. That would make no sense. And then to do Cena versus Cody in a title versus title match. Why? So Cody become a double champion? Why would they put the titles together again? The product is good where they have one world title on each brand. Why would they do that? I don't understand what your logic is for that. This hot take was probably the worst one in this entire video. There was two that was pretty bad. That one was pretty bad, my guy. The next one we have on here says, Bloodline always sucked. Jay and Roman are the most overrated and overhyped wrestlers ever. Neither are interesting, and Jay can't wrestle at all. Dude, come on. Are you seriously saying Roman Reigns is overrated? That is unbelievable. Maybe if you said that during his Big Dog era, I probably wouldn't have said you were wrong. But the man single-handedly carried WWE through 2020 when the dark times of 2018 and 2019 WWE were taking the product all the way downhill. And then 2020, you lose all the fans because of COVID-19. Like, Roman Reigns and the Bloodline story literally saved the company. And, you know, Jey Uso was a part of that. Roman and Jay's storyline within the Bloodline, their feud, and then Jey being the right-hand man. Everybody was interested in that storyline and tuning into SmackDown every week because of that. So that is that's a ludicrous take, in my opinion. How are you going to say these guys are overrated whenever their music hits, the crowd is at their loudest, right? Like Jey Uso, like literally this is another point to what the guy was saying about the IWC being way overcritical. How are you going to call Jey Uso overrated? Literally everybody in the crowd loves that guy. They're buying his t-shirts. To say, you know, he can't wrestle at all, I think that's also crazy. He's not the best wrestler by any means, but to say he can't wrestle, I mean, come on. I feel like you're just hating to hate. Last one we have on here says, not that much of a hot take, but I am scared for the women's division. I think they brought up the NXT girls too close to each other, and that will leave no space for other women to shine. I think it's good. I think WWE needed to bring these female wrestlers up from NXT like Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vaquer, Julia. I think that they absolutely need them. Let's start off by talking about Julia. She's in the mid-card scene right now. She's going after the Women's United States Championship, which is currently being held by Zelina Vega. That absolutely is needed because the women's mid-card is so bad. Nobody is interested really in Zelina Vega, if I'm being honest. She gets no reactions. B-Fab and Mi-Chin, like, people aren't really too intrigued. So I think they needed to do something different, right? Because Chelsea and the Secret Harvest, like, that's getting boring with them just feuding with Zelina Vega every week. They needed more superstars to go after that title. So Julia, she is perfect because she's an incredible wrestler. She is obviously new to the main roster, so this is the perfect way to introduce her. Now let's talk about Roxanne Perez. I think that she was needed as well. I think Raw needed a little more talent up there to go after world titles, and maybe even the women's IC title when we get there. She's been awesome with the Judgment Day. I've been loving that storyline with her. Stephanie Vaquer, another one. She just got called up. Was in the Money in the Bank match, had an awesome showing at Money in the Bank. I'm not sure what her direction is going to be because we haven't seen her on Raw since she had won the qualifying match. I would assume the next direction for her would to be winning the Queen of the Ring. She is my prediction to win the Queen of the Ring tournament. I think it's going to be her or Jade Cargill. But I disagree with you. I think that WWE actually needed these three women to come up from NXT because there's so many people on the main roster that just aren't getting the reactions that they want. But people like Roxanne Perez, Stephanie Vaquer, and Julia, they will get the reactions and they will help the women's division on WWE TV. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like down below. Don't forget to comment down below what videos you want to see from me in the future. Alright guys, peace.